Wolf, you may begin. Begin, please.
Shall I really begin?
Welcome, really.
Okay, let me make some preliminary remarks, my dear colleagues in Ukraine far away. Both my heart and my brain are near to you not only today, during these horrible times of the murderous and criminal attack by the Russian government. Since 25 years, I'm very close, working in different universities in Ukraine, professionally as professor and as a coordinator of European consultation and of 13 universities. And since 2007, my work is completely voluntarily, which I do from the bottom of my heart. So this is the first remark. The second thing, the subject which I'm dealing today with is a very widespread topic. That means which needs normally at least one semester to work on. So my presentation is only a very compressed approach and an individual selection of the subject health. Okay? And if you have any questions later on, please be so kind, ask, because study and university is only developing if there is an exchange between you and me. Okay? So let us start health, body or corpus, and preliminary remark. My explanations, which I'm doing now, 60 minutes at least, are based in part of the study handbook, Body and Soul, Salutogenesis and Pathogenesis. This is the book. And if you want, I can send it to you also via PDF, okay? Wait a moment, I show.
By the way, I have found my certificate, and there is only one snake on that.
It's in English, it's the goose or the crane. The crane.
It is
a common crane.
Is it connected with Japan?
From Japan, yes. And this is a symbol of long life and every-time health. Mm-hmm. So this is a modern symbol of modern health because a crane is one of the birds which never becomes ill. That's why the crane is a symbol of health.
Mm-hmm. And many paper cranes were made by the children all over the world to symbolize their support to Japanese children after the nuclear explosion in 1945.
Yeah.
So it's my
correct.
Memory.
So the title of my presentation was Body, Corpus, Or. Do you use in your language the
main part of the body, the chest and corpus?
Yeah, it's different because the term corpus, which sounds slightly very antiquated, was preserved mainly in the German language. That's why I'm asking if it is used in your language. From the historic point of view, it is older than the related term body. We are speaking about body, okay? Because the term body gained importance in the wake of philosophy of Descartes in the 16th century. He said, strict distinction between physically extended matter, res externa is Latin, and non-extended mental substance, which is completely different from the body. That means he made a difference between corpus and body. In the course of the end, this led to great success in the medical treatment of diseases. This development has also influenced the general mentality, which is still all over the world nearly the same. I quote, not what the person feels and perceives in his own body, but what the doctor can palpate, auscultate, and dissect become the model of experience. That means in former times, health disease, and all these things were only seen from the medical view of the body, and the soul and the brain was not their problem to look on. That means the objectified findings take part of the subjective state health. Objectified findings. The corpus remains in the place of a retreat for the occult, for the irrational, and for the unpredictable. That means the term corpus was only rehabilitated during the 20th century by the philosophy because a term was needed which could oppose the Cartesian Descartes concept of the body. That means we needed to say, I have a body, but it is different from corpus. Now, body describes the natural object of I have got it. I have got a body. You have got a body. That means it can be seen, can be measured, can be treated, manipulated from the outside. Corpus means the thing which we know and feel as our body and our self-awareness. That means the nature we are ourselves. So if I speak about my body, I think this is the external thing. This is my brain, this is my hand, this is my arm, this is my head. But the corpus is what I feel. Normally, you can see, if not confronted before, we are confronted with our corporal existence when we are only physically ill. Because nobody, if I'm walking, if you're walking, nobody speaks about how do I feel. As long as we feel healthy oneself, being able to forget the corpus. The reason can be seen in the instrumentalization of the corpus in every day. That means we are only speaking about that what we have if we feel not so well. In the case of a disease, it can all the more happen that the corpus is objectified as a body within the scope of the diagnostics and of the treatment. For instance, if you go to a hospital, doctors see, they do not speak about Vera and Sophia. They say, how does the kidney feel in room number 4? That means you are identified with the kidney or with your brain or whatever you have. You know what I mean? This is the instrumentalization of the body. Body is sometimes, from the medical view, more than the person. Okay, question so far? Is it understood what I told? So we have a difference between body, which we have, which can be measured and seen and touched on, and the corpus, which is our feeling. How do we feel? I'm feeling myself. So body is something hard, the corpus is something soft. Okay?
It's okay. It seems to me it is the extended version of my idea that our health is in our head.
Yes, but you normally, when you are talking, when you are working, when you are eating, you do not think about your health. You do not think about your body. Only if you have an infection, if you have, if headache, or if you have broken something, and you feel pain, then you have a corpus. That's yourself. Okay?
Then you are aware that there is such an organ.
Correct. Otherwise, we don't feel it. So similar of the distinction between body and corpus, now it becomes interesting, is a differentiated between disease and being ill in the German language. I asked you, Sophia, about, you remember, are you ill or what is disease? Disease rather implies the external view on the body, the disease of some infection. Sickness and illness are rather related to the subjective experience, especially the aspect of suffering, and are therefore closer to the corporeal existence. So we are speaking about sickness and I'm ill. You would never go and say, I have a disease. You would say, I'm ill, I'm on sick leave, okay? You would never say, I'm disease. The disease is the outer thing which we can describe, but illness is a very personal thing which is different from you. Your headache may be different from mine. Okay?
Diseases are included into the medical books.
That's it. That's it. The above-mentioned burden and the effective concern of corporal existence become especially clear in the experience of disease, worst of all probably in pain. So if there is a disease, and if you get this disease, you are ill and you have pain. Is the difference clear? Okay? Good. That now health and illness, normally and deviation. Is health normal? And is illness abnormal? On which things do normality, concepts, and expectations depend? There are basically two possibilities to explain. On the one hand, they can depend on the average values or a thing, the majority things. For instance, if you are a very, very, let's say, fat person, this is not normal. Average, you know what I mean? On the average, the expectation. Following Waldschmidt, we can call this empirically investigated normality or a normalistic. You can see it. Normal is empirically seen if you are normal or not normal. However, a dress code, for instance, is it if I'm having now no tie, only I have a skirt. The standard of normality is theoretical expectation value, which does not necessarily to have a correspond to the actually prevailing opinion or practice. For instance, my father, my grandfather, had another expectation, and this does not match the today normality. Okay, the normality is changing. We have two normal values. Results of the sociological studies show attitudes and behavior towards persons, for instance, with health problems, especially people with physically or mental diseases and disabilities, are in different cultures strongly determined by so-called expectation of normality. In former times, disabled people in Greece, there were
very weak children, babies, infants.
Yes. So we can say, what is to be understood by the term normality? The term normality points out does not describe things that they are, description, and also define the things which they should be. So is your hair normal, Vera, or not normal? Is my hair normal, or should it be different? You know what I mean? So we have different expectations come always from outside. Just coming back to
Olena,
sorry, Olena, what do you want to say? Olena?
Sorry, I just want to add one thing. My professor in university used to say normality is the most common pathology. So it's not such a thing as normal, because like all of us, we are different, you know. So like, and everything is different. It's not like constanta, yeah, the normality. Normality is the most common pathology. Am I being clear?
Correct. I applaud, a big applause, but unfortunately, this is only very few people who think about it, and other people do not share this opinion. Correct?
It's better to be just unique with the ideas you really believe in than to be the part of the huge group of people, but you do not share their opinions.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Hawking was a very unique person in terms of physical form, but he was a genius, and he was worth just listening to him, reading his books, and sharing his ideas, maybe.
To mention a horrible thing you are suffering since 2 years, there's a person in the east country of you who is governing a big country, and he thinks it's normal to conquer countries. You know what I mean? You see normality, the different shapes of normality. So the distinction between those normality concepts seems to be clear in the theory. However, in the practice, they can be, of course, blend with each other. This is very dangerous. Into the normality expectations regarding health and disease, functionality and disability, normalistic as well as normative ideas are entering. is a person with Down syndrome normal or not normal? You have spoken about this very often. So it's unfortunately a normalistic and another a normative idea. Waldschmidt explains the merging of both ideas by means of different slogans. For instance, the new movement says, being disabled is normal, or who is normal? You see, we are in a situation, we are in a decade where we have very clearly to think about normality and what we think about the normality of others. We think ourselves normal, but the person who has only one leg or who is blind, and this has to do something with health and illness. Good. A huge problem regarding this normality concepts, I'm coming back to our horrible history, mentioned so far was the dreadful mixing of social and biological norms of health. For instance, the attitude towards mentally ill persons in the eugenics. You know what I mean with eugenics. In a moment, sorry. So let's go on to the next one. By equalizing social anomaly and biological abnormality, the mentally ill were stigmatized in two ways. The social debasement was justified by the biology, and the biological abnormality seemed to make the social consequences necessary. It means, you know what I mean, the mass murders during the National Socialism in Germany, in connection with the annihilation program, this terrible interconnection of the normality concepts proved to be extremely disastrous. You see what happens here? If you see social anomaly and biological abnormality, whatever it is, it's a very dangerous thing. Even if we can go to political thinking, we can go to health thinking, we can go to disease thinking. It is a very big danger. Another problem is, for you and for me, and for all of us, that the expectations of normality are approaching the persons concerned from an external point of view. You never ask them. Their own view of normality does not play an important part here. For example, most of us, you and you and you, know situations where you and I managed something which was very special within the range of our potential, but which was normal for the majority. So the comparison between us, our normality, and the normality of others is a dangerous thing. You said it, Olena. Aspects of health. The World Health Organization has made the discussion of the health concept its task since many, many years. To this day, a very old definition of health, which is also written in the statutes of the World Health Organization, is the most famous one. I read it, I quote it. Health is a state of complete mental, physical, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And now comes the very important thing. To enjoy the best possible state of health is the fundamental right of every human being, irrespective of race, religion, political conviction, economic or social status. This definition still exists. It's an old one, but it is a lot of people work with this. Question to it?
So do you agree with every part of this definition from the world?
In the wide range, yes, but you know, this comes from 40. I share this was in 1946, so approximately many years ago, more than a decade. And there were other. I'll show you later. There were other conferences which made it more clear, more distinctive. But nevertheless, this definition is still rather I appreciate that it is a very condensed one. We can, of course, discuss it, but mental, physical, social well-being is a feeling which has nothing only to do with my disease. I like this, but it's not enough. Okay? Question? These definition dates once more from the year 1946, due to the many new member states in those times who became socialist republics, a majority for the specified role of societal, that means social connections have developed. This is a very important thing because all the social things we come later on, the social influences of health. To this day, many people define health by means of disease, even if this by means of that absence. Also still, they are recurring to this one. Many decades have passed before the interaction between society and individual development of health was expressed more precisely. You said it, the Ukrainian people is influenced since 2 years by this horrible, disastrous war, this murderous war, and this influences your, let's say, your brain, your soul, and whatever it is, your mental health. This happened on the occasion of the conference in Ottawa 1986. It was the biggest one ever, also known as the Health Promotion Conference. So you see, in 1986, it's now 40 years ago, maybe. Not a short definition was agreed. They did not like this one. It still exists. The new definition was agreed by the conference. It has a treatise of many pages, 30 pages. You can see it, you can look into the internet. There are many translations into many languages. So the new explanation, the new definition of health by the World Health Organization is written down in 1986, and you can see this also if you see in your web pages in Ukraine. Hopefully you'll find it. So the society, this is a very important thing. The society shall create general conditions where health can develop. The interaction between society and the individual is a decisive here. This is a completely new view. We are coming back to you later on in Ukraine. People are encouraged, people, to design their environment. And here's an example. For instance, children go to school without breakfast, buy chocolate, bars, sweetened drinks instead. You know, this is not very healthy. It would be a task of the society to offer them a healthier alternative for some of a cheaper price, for the same. Many schools right now, I don't know in Ukraine, in Germany as well, but the decision for the unhealthier behavior is still the easier one for many children. You know what I mean? I like chocolate, and I like it more than, for instance, some corn or whatever. How is it in Ukraine? Do you have also in your schools the intention for the children to have a better breakfast?
So there are different attempts to improve the school children's food for school, but still there are problems because chocolate bars are just advertised, and it is very fashionable, and children follow that fashion, that advertisement, and not always children have their healthy food. Besides online education, in some places, in some regions, it is only online education possible. So, which means that the children go to the shop to buy some food, and at home they eat the same, not in the canteens. So I remember from my school, working at school experience, that during the breaks, children ran to the nearest shop to buy something tasty but absolutely unhealthy. Even if there was healthy food in the canteen, they prefer to do that.
It's also a question
So
of
it's
parents.
not about school.
Parents have to be aware of
Parents,
this.
I was going to say that.
Education, of course. It's a question of and to be honest, it's a question of money.
Of course.
Of course, because sometimes healthy food is a little bit dearer than chocolate Okay, it's the big interconnection, and if you see that,
It's a big social, educational, financial,
correct.
economic.
So we are coming later on. You have some possibility to discuss. So that's okay. Make the health easier choice, the easier one. There's a further slogan of the World Health Organization in English, and sometimes things can be said especially brief and short in English. So health sciences. In the second half of the 20th century, that means in the decades during which was observed the development of health definitions, the health sciences developed. They consider human health from different perspectives. As a multidisciplinary science, it uses approaches from all the original sciences. Next to the medicines are sociology, psychology, pedagogy, economy, political sciences, journalism. The culture has also now technical sectors, like in the fields of traffic planning and environmental protection. So it's a huge wide field which is now discussed, sometimes commonly, not separately, by these persons of health sciences. Such a wide approach is necessary to investigate and describe the human health. Health sciences is an interdisciplinary scientific field that deals with the study of health and the disease process of the population. That means in former times, health or medicine only cared about the person and not about the society. Now, the health sciences, they care and they're dealing with the disease processes in population. I'm only speaking about, what we unfortunately had 4 years ago, the big COVID discussion. The aim of health sciences is to develop an in-depth understanding of the determinants of health and illness. Based on this, to design and to evaluate strategies for health promotion, health prevention, and care. I'm coming on the last part of my presentation to health promotion. The use of the plural health sciences refers to the interdisciplinary nature of the field, and the use of the word science, as opposed to public health, indicates the scientific nature of this field. Certain subdisciplines of medicine are also part of the health sciences insofar as a cognitive interest lies with the subject areas of health sciences. For instance, physiotherapy and all they belong to the health sciences. According to the health sciences, a definition of health contain the social perspective and the interactions between the individual and the environment. So it's not a question on me, it's a question of the environment. If I'm in an industry, I'm working and living in a zone of big industrial plants where pollution is always around me, I'm in a horrible health situation due to environment. The role of society is not only discussed in connection with the inclusion of disabled people, but it also constitutes a central demand of health promotion. Factors which are influencing health. These health sciences have described the factors, and they are called determinants of health, which itself is a Latin origin. A number of rather different conditions are considered as so-called factors or determinants of health. For instance, peace, democracy, social security, education, especially education of the women, nutrition, environmental conditions, the hygiene, especially drinking water supply, wastewater disposal, and the medical care. Those are social framework conditions which depend on the political conditions and which are influenced by them. So we are coming to policy and politics now. You see, we are in a very important field. The significant improvement of life expectancy, which developed during the last centuries, is above all based on the decline of infectious diseases, injections and so on. But this is very interesting by research findings. This was not due to the improvement of the medical care, as most people believe, but due to the improvement of the living conditions.
Hygiene is important.
Yeah, it's very important. For the evaluation of the role of medical care, it also has been considered whether all sections of the population have sufficient access to the care system. If you're going to Africa, if you're going to India, if you're going to let's say, Eastern Asia, not all people have access to the care system. Okay. An example of the US. Although the worldwide highest share of gross domestic product, 13.6%, as stated by the OECD in 1998, it is registered with the health sector. A large part of the population, about 40 million people, does not have a health insurance. I don't know if you followed the big discussions about the about the former US presidents. And a lot of people, they do not have access, they do not have health insurance, because they say health insurance is socialistic, horrible idea of devil. It is a very big question in the United States. It's still a big question about rich people and poor people. 40 million do not have health insurances. Horrible. However, this group is the one which is most affected by disease, which a cost of component of 10.6% of the gross income. This is, of course, different for some disease and disability. The boom of the biosciences, which could be observed for some years, is connected to the hope that there will be a contribution to the influencing on diseases and disabilities by medical changes and not by social changes, which are hard to control. That means there's a big fight between social politicians, which we cannot control really what we mean if you are drinking too much, if you are smoking and so on. This cannot be controlled. So they are really thinking, let biosciences more research findings that they have. So this is a big fight. So many persons who are responsible for social politics refrain from all these things. Okay? The importance of social factors. For the last 3 decades, the effects of social differences on health are increasingly, thank God, of public interest. Great Britain, Scandinavia, for instance, social criteria were introduced into the health reporting first time. By means of them, social classes can be defined. Among them are income, education, gainful employment, just to maintain the most important criteria. We can see that there are differences according to the social situation with almost all diseases as well as with the mortality. That means the better the conditions, the social environmental conditions in the country are, the less dangerous are diseases, or they can be overcome. In summary, it may be said that health and disease are above all influenced by age, the gender, social situation, with work on background of the determinants. And now I would like a discussion in your group. I would like to have a short discussion or an exchange of ideas among yourselves on the following thesis in relation to your country, Ukraine, and to communicate the results. I'm showing you now a thesis, and I would like that you discuss a little bit, and that you can include me, but I still be silent. It will be silent a little bit. So, determinants of society and environment of health. Please reflect the following thesis. Choose 2 factors, discuss them in the group or with each other, and report back. Thesis. Among the main factors which can contribute to an endangering or worsening of the healthcare is socio-economic situation of the state, the situation, the system of social security, the structure and development of the health system in your country or a region, the system of social support, the educational status, educational system, job and gender, the family situation, the ecological situation, and as well as the dominating worldview in the society in regard to health, stress, and disease. So pick up two of these factors and think, how is this in regard with health in your area? And what is, for instance, the influencing factor which can endanger or worsen the healthcare system? I stop now. Choose two factors. Or shall I choose two factors for you and make it easier?
So I can choose myself.
Yeah. What?
I can choose two factors myself.
Yeah, okay.
What about the other students?
I would like, you are all sitting in different rooms, I know this, but perhaps it would be possible now to interact a little bit on the screen.
Can I?
Yeah,
Sorry.
But you
So,
should discuss not with me.
for
but
sure, the ecological situation.
Yeah.
Лена,
Sorry?
Лена,
For
ви
sure, the
хочеш,
ecological
щоб
situation
ми
is a
самі
huge trouble.
послухали?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, go on.
Sorry, one more time. Oh, so the ecological situation is a huge trouble for our country, because with all of those missile attacks and bombs, and the pollution of the air, the destroying of ecosystem, and
Yeah.
the situation in general with the nature is horrible.
Yeah.
It's huge disaster, not only for Ukraine, but and also for the rest of Europe.
Yeah.
And I think, in general, people, it's not only about Ukraine. I think it's the general question. So people are careless. So you mentioned before about the illness and disease. If you don't feel the illness in your body, if you don't feel the symptoms, you're not gonna go and check. And all of us, we knew the prevention is better than cure. So sometimes we don't feel the pain or don't feel some discomfort, yeah, but we actually might be ill. So
Yeah.
also the general system of healthcare, I think, should be focused on prevention, rather, of course, cure also, but prevention is more important. Thank you.
What do the other? I completely agree. What do the others say?
Well, sorry, the other.
Yeah. What do your other student colleagues say?
Maybe struck. Oh, okay.
I would stress on the educational aspects of health, because without well-educated people, so they are not aware of the dangers, they are not aware of the importance of doing this and that. For that, the society should organize health education, but just general education, because people, you mentioned the areas in Africa, in Asia, so they very often, of course, the economic situation doesn't make them reach the source of clean water, healthy water, and of waste disposal, and healthy food, or food at all, because sometimes people are not able to reach to get any food,
Yeah.
and so it is also a problem. But if there is food, people should be aware of the consequences of just consuming this or that food, educate their children. So education is of great importance, and as a rule, educated people, so they are a little bit healthier than
Good.
the opposite one.
Education is a question of schools, education schools of families, education school of university. Are we okay with these things? Family?
Just the whole society, the mentality should be
Yes,
a
but
little bit.
okay, but let's say in small, everybody has responsibility. Father has responsibility, mother has responsibility, school has responsibility, teacher, university students, university teachers, and so on. So, okay, you agree. Olena, come back to you. Olena, I agree completely with this. Who has to care about things better, which you mentioned? Who's responsible for the betterment? Who? I agree.
I think it's a complex question.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a complex problem. Solution should be complex. It's not only on the level of like a human being, yeah, or a person. So it's supposed to be kind of like government should be involved in that, yeah. So culture maybe also, yeah. So it's a cultural aspect also important in this like important factor, yeah, for our social health, let's say like that, the level of social health. So it's a complex question and a complex solution which need the complex solution. So it's
I,
not like depend only on me, yeah, but also the health system, a government, maybe some kind of like promotion, yeah, or propaganda of the health style of life.
I agree, but there's a danger. If you see there's a complex thing, okay, let the others make first. You know what I mean? I think it has to be something about the awareness and to become aware that I myself, that fathers myself, school myself, and this is a question of really reflection. It has to be a subject. It has to be a topic of reflection. Okay. And now comes a very strange question. It's I like this question. You are the future leading persons of your country. You have the intellect, you have the possibility, you have the fantastic ideas. So it's a little bit your task to influence and to make things a tiny little thing better. It's also your task as students and university teachers, Vera. I always try to motivate my students. Come on, you are the leading persons. You are the best next generation. You take responsibility for the development of the state, not for everything, but in the part you are responsible for. That's what I mean. Okay? Do you agree? Good.
Yeah, I agree, but
Yeah.
also you need to start from yourself. So if you promote, you should be a role model for it. For example, like if we're talking about the health, so you need to go like do checkups every year, yeah, and do some hygiene and stuff, yeah. So you need to be a
Yeah.
role model if you're
Yeah.
promoting something, and of course you should start from your family, your friends, and yeah, encourage like
Yeah.
kids, grandkids, etc., to take care of themselves, not only physical but also mental health.
Good. So once more coming back, we make a summary. What are the social determinants of health? There are 5 or 6, it depends on which view I have. Economic stability, education access, healthcare access equality, neighborhood and built environment, and social community context. These are the big fields and domains. In America, and the American government has made this this nice thing, social determinants of health, and this has been done for as a vision for the year 2030. Good. Now we are coming to, I think we have time enough. It's a long thing, mental health. Do we have still time? Vera,
So you may
I have
take
still a lot of things many things to say and to show.
so it's up to you, but
We can do it.
let's ask students if they are able to be active here and to participate for long, because it depends a lot on our electricity and the power banks. For me, it is the question of power bank.
What I can offer, Vera, we can stop here. And I will make a second session, beginning here with this mental health and health promotion, if you want. I'm free for this.
Of course, we want. Lena agrees, and the other Ivana agrees. So it will be really great to see you once again. Maybe the situation will improve a little bit, because yesterday we had 2 bombings, and because of that, and in the morning again something was exploding. Maybe next week will be, or some other day will be better, or in any case it will be easier to finish this lecture because
It's a lot of things to go. The whole thing of mental health promotion is very important. So it's an offer for me. What I'm available this week. Next week I'm not here. I'm in Italy.
Okay.
But however, we can discuss it. I'm flexible and I offer this. And if you want, we can continue with this mental health and so on, so on. Is it okay?
I do hope so. And by the way, we have the working day on Saturdays. That is why these 5 next days will be possible for finishing this lecture, if you don't mind.
Okay, so for today, that's only for today. Thank you for listening for today. Thank you for thinking along. Thank you for questions, contribution. Take care and stay healthy.
Thank you. Have a nice
So many
day.
hugs for you, Wolf.
Let me give a hug.
So
From
many
Germany.
hugs for you, Wolf.
For my beloved Ukrainian students. Okay,
Great.
Thank you.
with a pleasure.
Goodbye.
Okay, and Vera, we discuss the next when it is